And we are live. Welcome to the process. It is Friday, November 26th. I'm Josh Engelman, and I'm here to break down the NBA because it is back today. No basketball yesterday. Doesn't mean we're going anywhere for today. 11 games on the slate, 12 games overall. We do have a 3:30 start that I am not touching on for this show, but we do have a game kicking off at kicking off. That's more of an NFL term. Tipping off at 3:30. So check out that one if you want to play some Showdown today. But we're back. No changes now. We're diving right in. We got a lot to talk about. Hit that like button as you get in the door. It's Black Friday, so every one of your likes count double, at least as far as I'm concerned. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff. I'm out of it. It's the day after Thanksgiving. This is going to be a difficult show to do. Brain doesn't appear to be working the way that I would like it to. We'll figure it out as we go along. I appreciate having you all here. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. No matter what you did, I hope you had a good time doing it. I'm pooped, though. I want leftovers. I have no appetite. I want water more than anything. I've got coffee, even though that I could very clearly have water. Football was terrible as far as I'm concerned. Did not go well yesterday. So we're back to basketball, and that's exactly where I want to be. So I don't know how big of a crowd we're going to get today. Good morning to Panji and Victor and Davey. Good morning. Great to see everybody here. I don't know how big the crew is going to be at 6:30 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving, but whoever's here, I appreciate y'all considerably. Let's do this. Rise and grind. There it is. I've got my coffee cup ready. I desperately want to take a sip of this. So cheers to you all. I hope you've got something with you to cheers with. Coffee, water, tea, beer. I don't care at this point. Ciggies are fine for today. Cheers, everybody. Good morning. Rise and grind. God, that tastes better today than it normally does. Let's be clear here. C. Thor. Josh, I know this is a difficult question for you to answer, but your best guess. How much do you think your average viewer spends on daily fantasy basketball per day? $10, $20, or more? If you mean just entry fees, or do we count like subscription services and stuff too? Because obviously that's going to be a little bit higher. I would guess it's a minimal amount. $10 seems pretty reasonable. There's going to be a chunk of people that are playing a lot. And then there's, I think the large majority are YouTube type viewers that are probably playing one lineup in a couple contests, maybe just like the run of single entries, like the $1, the $2, the $3, the $5, maybe the $10. So something around $10, but not a lot, is my guess. I don't think you get a lot of people playing like $100 a day. DFS Whispers, good morning, Josh, and everyone. Hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. Thank you for that super chat, man. I know that I did. I hope that everyone else did as well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Alrighty, let's switch it over here. Let's get into it. Friday, 11 games. But first, shout out to Prize Picks for being the presenting sponsor of this show. I get them every day. Makes me happy. If you use the promo code Awesemo when you sign up at PrizePicks, you will receive up to $100 on your first deposit. So if you deposit 50, they will match it with 50. If you deposit 100, they will match it with 100. You really can't beat deals like that. We've got player prop tools on the website that will help you out in making all of your PrizePicks lineups, and you don't have to spend a cent on them. It all just exists on Awesemo.com. So go check out Awesemo and make sure you're checking out PrizePicks and using that promo code. Here we go. Let's get the music going in the background. Let's see if I can wake up at some point in time during this show. We're kicking it off, first and foremost, the Minnesota Timberwolves at my Charlotte Hornets. Wolves 3-point dogs, 222 total. We've got no Patrick Beverley out for at least this one. Q tag on Josh Okogie. So let's go ahead and get Beverley out of there. And let's figure out what the impact ends up being as the trickle down. I assume Jordan McLaughlin is just going to play like backup run to D'Angelo Russell. Philip, good morning. So we're getting Minnesota in here right now. Probably not going to have to make any rate changes. This is a pretty standard issue for them. We got Anthony Edwards in for 35 minutes. That's fine by me. Towns minutes look fine. I guess Malik Beasley's going to be the guy that sees some extra time here. Let's just look at Minnesota's recent form. Beasley was the guy that benefited most with Beverley going out on Wednesday. So let's call it Beasley again here today. 33 minutes. Josh Okogie has not played in 5 days, or 5 games rather. I'm going to assume that he is back for this spot. Taurean Prince has been in his stead. I'm going to just give Taurean Prince 8 minutes as spillover. We do need to grab Malik Beasley's rate, or rates, I guess, for this season so far. Theodore, I'm with you, man. Thank God for basketball. No Moss football for me. Team basketball all the way. I don't really need to take Beverley off. That's not going to be something that makes a difference. Probably would be good to put like Towns on, just because I assume Beasley's usage rate is just going to go down. I mean, it's already down. Okay, I'm actually fine with this. Malik Beasley is going to be a very important piece of today's slate, it appears. Which is kind of fun to see. We'll look at Minnesota in a second. Let's look at their opponents, the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte, fresh off of LaMelo trying to send himself an oop on his own and gets removed from the game, which is hysterical to me. Jeremy, good morning. What do we know for Charlotte? I think somebody's out, actually. A Q tag on Mason Plumlee. Okay. For right now, I don't think that there's anything we can do with that information. Plumlee, right calf strain. I'm not sure we can really have anything there that's actionable. I just know that I need to put PJ Washington back in. He played 6 minutes in his return. That seems like not a lot. But he's going to have to get a little bit more than that as we move forward. So I've got 7 minutes just floating around right now. I guess I got 8 minutes just floating around. So I can start there with 8 for PJ Washington. Who else is going to lose time? Yeah, Theodore, I had Swift and Waller in Montgomery as well, so I know the feeling there. Not fun. That's what the feeling is. I mean, I guess I could take... It's not going to really matter who gets these minutes because PJ Washington and Jalen McDaniels are not playable on a day like today. So let's do something like that. I think that solves the problem. So that leaves us Charlotte and Minnesota. We're through game 1. So Minnesota, Malik Beasley is 4,200 on FanDuel and 3,900 on DraftKings. He is going to be a fantastic value option. Maybe not fantastic. Maybe I'm a little extreme. He's going to be a great option today from a value perspective. I think Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell both look really good. This is a massive pace up spot for most teams. Minnesota is 8th fastest, but Charlotte is 3rd. They're going to gain probably like an additional 3 possessions on average just by being in this game. And then Towns is 8,800 on FanDuel. If I had to guess, that's his lowest price ever on FanDuel. 9,500 on DraftKings still looks good, but Towns, Edwards, Russell, Beasley, I think you've got to be in that area on all 4 guys, like a lot. On the Charlotte side, I think LaMelo looks good for 9,300 on FanDuel. I think he continues to be underpriced there. Miles Bridges looks good to me on both sites, including 7,800 on DK. Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier both look a little bit better on DraftKings than they do on FanDuel, but they're still good. I mean, Cody Martin and Kelly Oubre also look pretty good to me. This game is loaded with options. Absolutely loaded. Best game of the night might be, from a fantasy perspective, might be kicking off, I did it again, might be tipping off right out of the gate at 7 o'clock. Let's move to Phoenix now. The Suns are in New York. Suns are 3-point favorites, 216.5 total. On the Phoenix side, no Frank Kaminsky, who's obviously out for a while. Abdel Nader questionable, so nothing really there. Q tags on Mitchell Robinson, Derrick Rose, and Taj Gibson, so that's a real treat for right now. I mean, the centerpiece is pretty easy because we know what to do when these guys go out. Like, if Mitchell Robinson plays, he starts and plays, 26 to 30 minutes, and then one of Nerlens Noel or Taj backs him up. Otherwise, you just start bumping guys up the line. So while those questionable tags are a problem, the Rose Q tag is really the only one that matters. And I'm guessing he plays, but we'll read the blurb when we get there. Phoenix is probably already set. I don't think there's going to be much here that we need to think about. Like, we know what this split is going to be. Do I need to give more time to anyone in particular? Maybe Landry Shamet, but that is not the sort of goal we have here. Everybody that should be playing good minutes is. So let's move it over to the Knicks. I love when we can get to teams where you don't have to touch any part of the rotation. The Knicks are not one of those teams. So let's assume for right now. Well, let's read the blurbs first. I want to assume Derrick Rose plays. Ankle injury. Didn't play Wednesday. So, didn't play Tuesday, rather. So, he's been off since Sunday. I'm going to assume Derrick Rose plays. Cantor, where else would I be, man? Where else would I be? All right, we're just going to assume that everybody is in. So, I think that's our only real thing that we can do here. Which probably makes it easier to just scratch this entire rotation. We're going to give Mitchell Robinson 24 minutes. We're going to give Nerlens Noel, I guess, probably the other 24 minutes. Which gives us Randall for 36. Randall for 35, maybe. We're going to have Kemba and Derrick Rose splitting. I can't even talk. We're going to have Kemba Walker and Derrick. I got to wake up. Here it comes right now. Waking up. Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose splitting point guard minutes. That seems pretty reasonable. That is sort of what they do. Every once in a while, you see quickly get a couple extras. Let's do 23 for Rose. We'll do 23 for Kemba. And then we'll get quickly in there for 22 total. How much Swift and Waller did I have in the Thanksgiving slate? I only played the 3 max. I don't know what it was called yesterday. I think it's the power sweep normally. Waller, I believe, was in 2 of them. Swift was in at least 2. I think I had Montgomery in all 3, so none of it was good. All right. Alec Burks has been playing a little bit more as of late. I'm going to put him in for 24 minutes. This is really coming together pretty easily. Whoop, wrong button. We're going to get RJ Barrett in for 30. I think that's fine. So we still need minutes to Fournier and Obi Toppin. So Toppin gets the backup 4 run. That really only gives me 22 minutes for Fournier. I don't know how crazy that is, though. Somebody, like, has he played more in some of these games? Yes, but where do I take those minutes from? That is the question. I don't think that it's Alec Burks. I don't think it matters, actually. But let's take 2 of those minutes from Alec Burks and give him the Fournier. Makes it a little bit better. I'm going to take 2 of those minutes from Quickly and give him the Fournier. And I think that brings me into something a little bit closer. Rates, I don't think really change. So we can move forward here. Take a look at Phoenix side. Devin Booker for 7,700 on FanDuel. We're seeing just, I think it'll matter once we're done looking through this slate, but I feel like the high, or like the relative high end of guys on FanDuel is just all like $500 underpriced, which is kind of interesting. But Booker on FanDuel looks best. I don't have much else that I'm interested in from Phoenix. On the Knicks side, maybe Julius Randle. I mean, 8,700 for Randle on FanDuel's pretty easy. 10-1 on DraftKings, a little bit less so. Otherwise, there's not much else here. So let's go to the Chicago Bulls at the Orlando Magic. Revenge narrative for Nikola Vucevic. Revenge narrative for Wendell Carter Jr. I can't remember if anybody else was in that deal. But revenge all around. We saw Vooch and Caruso both be back on Wednesday. So seems to me we're going to be able to project everybody in. But let's just look at this one first. Bulls are 8-point favorites in Orlando. 213.5 total. Yeah, no injury news for Chicago. On the Orlando side, good God. All right, Q tag on Cole Anthony, Q tag on Terrence Ross, and then the normal no Isaac Fultz, MCW, or Eton Moore. Got to assume that Vooch is going to get more playing time today than he did on Wednesday, so let's call that 30 minutes. Tony Bradley then back down to 12. Actually, Tony Bradley was not a part of that rotation on Wednesday. That's something we need to look at. So Chicago, okay. They did get beat by 30, which is relevant. But Tony, wait, is that the wrong game? Yeah, that's the wrong game. Oh, stupid popcorn machine. Okay, so on the 24th, who the hell did the Bulls play? The Bulls played the Rockets on the 24th. Alrighty. So let's fix the date and hope I get the order of operations right first. I did not. Okay. Are they just legitimately not updated? 2021, 11/24. That's the date, right? Yeah. Bulls, Rockets. Should be Shy Hugh. Does Houston have a different... No. Yeah, this should be I guess they're just not updated. Huh. That's different. Normally you could just... I always thought this was automated. All right, well, I'm going to assume then that we're not going to see Tony Bradley here today. Which means we need to go to Wowie and look at the rotations. Shouts to add more funds. All right, Bulls, Rockets. So we had Tony Bradley basically play 2 minutes in the middle of the fourth quarter. Did not play in the first half. They went 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-man rotation. I'm going to take Tony Bradley out, I guess. It's not like they need him against Orlando. Orlando has bigs, but not like that kind of big. You don't need like an actual big body. So let's assume that it's just going to be Derek Jones as the straight backup, which it basically was. I mean, they did do this stretch right here where it was Javonte Green, Lonzo, Levine, Kobe White, and Dosunmu. But we saw Vooch just have Derek Jones as his straight backup, except for one tiny 2-minute stretch in the fourth quarter. Wait, Vooch was off here. They went Caruso, DeRozan. All right, so they have no problem going to like DeRozan at the 5 lineups, which is just wild. So I'm going to get Derek Jones 14 minutes there, and we're going to say that DeMar DeRozan plays 4 minutes at center because that's what happens nowadays. DeMar DeRozan is a center. Javonte Green just appears to be playing more minutes, or at least did in this last one. Caruso got right back into the 30s, so I am bumping that back up into 32 minutes. Got to do that. And then let's try to get Javonte Green to like 24. Is that going to work? 23? 23. Done. I could take some minutes from Kobe White, move them to Dosunmu. Shouldn't matter for today. We know who we're looking at in this game at the very least. Alrighty, so Chicago side is done. Let's go to Orlando. 6:53. We've got 93 viewers, 41 likes. I think you guys can give me a little bit of a present. Hit that thumbs up button on this lovely Black Friday. Helps me out a ton. All right, Cole Anthony has been out for 3 straight games. Do we know what his actual status is? Sprained right ankle. Magic coach Jamal Mosley hinted Anthony was going to be out a bit longer. So that was from yesterday at 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to assume that Cole Anthony isn't going to play here today. No, that guy did not bet me anything on Wendell Carter's fantasy points last time, which, by the way, he obviously scored more than 20. All right, well, I'm going to assume that Cole Anthony doesn't play. I'm going to assume for right now that I should read Terrence Ross's blurb instead of assuming. Will not play on Wednesday. Back spasms. Yeah, I assume he's playing. So I think this will just end up being the rotation that I projected last time. We did get Gary Harris in and playing 35 minutes, obviously, once Terrence Ross left the game. Michael Mulder played 24 again. So there's that, which isn't great. So who didn't get the minutes that I thought was going to play? Because it's got to be somebody on this list. Oh, yeah, it was Terrence Ross. So, like, Michael Mulder basically got Terrence Ross's minutes in this spot. / Gary Harris. So if I think Terrence Ross plays, then I don't care about Mulder. I do kind of want to give Gary Harris these Mo Wagner minutes. But I guess I don't because he does play too. 28 for Wendell Carter, I think seems fine. 29 for Bamba, I think seems fine. 26 for RJ Hampton, I think, is okay. Mulder's minutes will hold if Anthony's not playing. I don't really have any other changes I want to make here. This one's just kind of gross. I guess Chumo Kiki could, in theory, play slightly less. Take him down to 22. Bump up Gary Harris to 25. Don't think it's going to matter. The biggest piece of this game is going to be our boy here, Wendell Carter Jr. So let's look at this Chicago-Orlando game now. On the Chicago side, not too much. Like, clearly, DeMar and Lonzo across both sites look okay. Zach LaVine continues to be just 8K on FanDuel. I think he's really easy to get to. And then Vooch is 7,600 on FanDuel. We don't know how much he's going to play, but if Vooch just happens to get normal run or play like 32 minutes, that's a decent price tag, especially against Orlando. So keep your eye on Chicago here. Keep your eye on that 8K price tag for LaVine and 7,600 for Vooch. On the Orlando side, Wendell Carter Jr., 5,500 on FanDuel, 5,600 on DraftKings. Yup. Mo Bamba across both sites. Yup. And then Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs are just cheaper on DraftKings than they are on FanDuel and look better. Same goes for RJ Hampton, too, I guess. There's a lot more to like here than I was expecting. 114 viewers, 53 likes. We're climbing a little bit. We're climbing. We're not going to hit that 100 mark by 7 a.m., that's for sure. But we'll slowly but surely get there. Toronto at Indy. This one might be gross. Toronto, 4-point dogs in Indy. 211 total, actually. We'll start on the Toronto side. Q-tag on OG Anunoby. No Khem Birch. For Indiana, I assume there's like a Q-tag on everybody. Oh, everybody in. Alrighty. That'll work. Well, this shouldn't be all that bad then. We've had no Anunoby for 4 straight games. Let's go ahead and check out if we have any updates. Anunoby. Left hip pointer, missed the last 4. Ooh, Yuta Watanabe is also back, finally. Well, I think we just sort of have to assume that OG Anunoby is going to play, at which point I don't think I have all that much I want to change in my rotations. I guess I got to take Khem Birch out, so if Precious is in, he's going to play 26 minutes. It doesn't appear that they care all that much about Chris Boucher. So I'm going to give him like 1 rotation, basically. That dude's just going to fall into minutes one day, and everybody's going to lose their minds. And then I think that I could just give like Watanabe a little bit of time. So we've got a 9-man rotation in right now. So let's say Siakam's going to play a little bit more at the 5. Is 12 minutes for Yuta Watanabe just like what this is going to be? I guess it's more minutes to Svi. Yeah, it's going to be just more minutes to Svi and Banton and not to Watanabe. I think Watanabe just played because OG was, in theory, out there. So let's start moving minutes. We'll get Scotty Barnes up to 34. And we'll move OG's minutes there. We'll move 6 minutes over here for Trent. And then we'll go 6 and 6. Much better. There's not going to be a ton to like from Toronto, but there is lineup filler, that's for sure. Somebody will pop. On the Indy side, all right, Hold'em King. Josh, on your usage rates, do you make some of the low-tier players bump up a little more to balance out the top or whole team? No, so I don't have, like, it all balances itself. If I know how many possessions are in the game, then I know that I have to make, like, I can use my base usage rate. Yeah, it's going to be easier to just show it. So if I delete all of these usage rates that I have in here right now, the numbers here in column AC are what I project for usage rates. Basically, for all intents and purposes, it's like a rolling average. But I create a pace metric based on the team rates to find out how many possessions I think are going to be in the game. So in this case, I think there are going to be 96.1 possessions in this game, which means from a minutes perspective, once I assign minutes, I know everybody's usage rate. That assigns possessions to every single individual player. When I do that, in this case, you can see it right here. If I just use everybody's base usage rate, I would have too many possessions. So Karis LeVert, who I project for a 27.9% usage rate, actually gets a 26.9% usage rate in the game. Because if I use all of these usage rates as they are currently set up, it would be too many possessions. So I need to slowly take some of those possessions away from everybody else. Now, if I put the projected rates in that I had, what I try to do is set by hand when I have to. I'll set by hand the usage rates for the people that matter. So in this case, LeVert, Sabonis, Brogdon, Turner, McConnell, because it doesn't really matter what I set like Torrey Craig's usage rate to be. So I let the rest of those guys dictate. Like I lock in LeVert at 29.5. You can see that here. I lock in Sabonis. I lock in Brogdon. I lock in Turner. But at that point, once I lock all those guys in, then I know however many possessions I have left, they get distributed to everyone else. So it all happens automatically in the background. I hope I did an okay job of explaining that. Let's look at this Indiana side where if everybody's healthy, I don't get the sense we're making many changes here. Keelan Martin played a bit less. Torrey Craig played a bit more. They finally got back to their normal stuff. Was this overtime? Oh, yeah, it was against Lakers, right? But even still, Brogdon played 40 minutes. Of course he did. Torrey Craig kind of fits that matchup against the Lakers a little bit more, so that's not too crazy. I think this is probably right. 28 minutes for Karis LeVert is scary, I guess. Justin Holiday played a little bit more, but I think that also makes some sense. We didn't see Goga, which is weird against the Lakers, but whatever. Yeah, I don't think I really have any changes here because we're not going to be playing any of those down the line guys for Indy. So let's look at Toronto. Van Vliet, a guy that I like to get to pretty much regularly. He's been a 1.06 fantasy point per minute guy so far this season. And I have him at 1.09 in this matchup. So I think Van Vliet looks pretty solid today. His ownership will tell a big tale. 5,800 for Gary Trent is all right. I probably have him under projected. I think he's been a little too lucky with the steals so far this season. There's little bits of Toronto you could like across the board, but I think Van Vliet is really the only guy that I would have any sort of focus on. On the Pacers end of it, $7,200 Brogdon on FanDuel is pretty clearly the best option from a FanDuel perspective. Sabonis, Turner, LeVert, the other guys you can get to. On DraftKings, though, it's very different. You can still get to Brogdon, and $7,500 is not a problematic price tag. Miles Turner is $6K. Like, he's going to blow that. So I set Miles Turner's ceiling at 46.5 fantasy points on DraftKings if he plays 31 minutes. Oh, I think the steals are real, but he's had a couple games that are, I think, pushing up his rates. I don't think he's like all that different of a player. Turner for 6K is just too cheap. If he hits 46.5, that's a 7.7x mark. You're going to be really happy. LeVert, I still think is too cheap. I probably have him over projected, but we're talking about a guy that has a 29.5 to 30% usage rate this season. Like one of these days, he's just going to keep shooting and they go in. And then Sabonis is just Sabonis. We know exactly what we want to do with him on a day-to-day basis. So we'll save this workbook so that we don't have any worries like that. We'll move it on to Atlanta at Memphis. This is basically a coin flip game. The Hawks are a half-point dog, 226 total. And I believe we just have normal stuff for Atlanta. Probable on Trae Young, Q tag on Bogdan, which we've seen for a while. So no changes that I think have to be made for Atlanta. On the Memphis side, we've got the Q tag on DeAnthony Melton now. Could be working his way back. For Atlanta, I don't think we're changing anything. Yeah, 34 minutes for Trae. Sure. That's what we want in a close game. 34 minutes for John Collins in a close game. Sure. 32 minutes for Clint Capella in a close. 31's going to have to just work. Gallo at 24 might be a little high. Reddish at 25 might be. That's fine too. I think we got this. Atlanta doesn't need a ton of changes. We know what we're doing here. On Memphis, I guess we're going to have to put Melton back in for a relatively small amount of minutes. That will just basically come straight from John Conchar. So not a lot there. Brandon Clark, again on Wednesday, played some additional minutes. I don't know where they're going to come from, but they're coming from somewhere. Steven Adams is pretty much just a 24-minute-a-game guy now. So let's bump up Memphis. Or let's bump up Brandon Clark a little bit further. Zaire Williams, his minutes are sort of just all over the place. But I'm set for 35 on Ja. And I don't know, maybe do I take 2 away from Desmond Bane? Do I take him to 28? Because I think he just played a little bit more with Brooks and Melton being out. So let's do that. Let's do something like this. Done. All right, so that's Memphis. That was a quick game to get through. Atlanta Hawks. I like Trae on both sites, 8,700 and 9,300. But as I mentioned, like it seems as though a lot of people are priced like Trae Young, where they should probably be like 9,200, but they're 8,700. Clint Capella for 7,500 on FanDuel / DraftKings looks pretty good. Josh, on these larger slates, do you care about the guys 10K and above? I've been setting my max to 9,900, or am I dumb? Well, I won't call you dumb, but I don't think you should do that. I would never do that. I don't think that there's any scenario where you want to be removing the best players in the games. All right, let's look at the summary quickly. I don't know how many games I'm in here. I guess Atlanta is the 5th game. 1, 2. Yeah. All right. Atlanta's game 5. So if we just look at the summary table, we can get an idea of where everybody ranks alongside each other, at least. On FanDuel, LaMelo and Towns are my 2 favorite plays so far. Not even really all that close. Wendell Carter Jr., Anthony Edwards, Malcolm Brogdon, Ja Morant. Like, you can just see these prices are really easy to get to. On DraftKings, Edwards, Bridges, Carter, Beasley, Brogdon. It's just a lot of really similar dudes. But, like, what you could really expect in this first 4. Like, perfect example. Edwards, Bridges, Carter, Beasley. They're my 4 favorite options on DK right now, just sort of generally speaking. You would only expect one of those guys, on average, to hit their boom score. That's how hard this is. Now, on the Memphis side, it's Ja for 9K or 9,600 on DraftKings. Although with Brooks in, that's a little tricky. And then Dylan Brooks Jaren Jackson for 6,300 on DraftKings with the power forward eligibility. That's a good spot. We're on to game number 6. Washington at Oklahoma City. For the Wizards, who are 7.5-point favorites in Oklahoma City. Just no Rui, no Thomas Bryant, so nothing there. On the OKC side, just no Shea, nothing else. So same rotations these two teams have had pretty recently. We saw Davis Bertans come back and play 19 minutes in his return on Wednesday. So I've got Dinwiddie in for 30. We saw Aaron Holiday continue to play 18. Corey Kispert was the one whose minutes went down. Now they went down. This entire team played a bit less, but I think we're pretty much just the same minutes as usual here. I'm going to take 2 more away from Aaron Holiday and give them to Howell Neto. Actually, I should probably give them to Denny. So let's do that, actually. That works. Not a lot to like for Washington. We're not going to be recommending really anybody here. OKC. I don't even know who ended up playing in these last 2 games without Shea. All right, so I got Dort in for 33 minutes. I think that's fine. We've got Giddey in for 32 minutes. I think that's fine. Baisley in for 32 minutes. I think that's fine. Jeremiah Robinson Earl in for 28. I think that's fine. Aaron Wiggins got 26 the last time out. I think everybody else that we could possibly be looking at is a fool's errand. So I think we're okay on OKC just in general, which means we're on to looking at this one. And I don't think that Washington is all that playable on either site. Like, you'll get a share or two of Beal or Dinwiddie, but I don't like Washington at all here against the Thunder. It's not a great spot. Who knows what minutes get played. On the OKC side, Giddey, 6,200 on FanDuel, going to end up being pretty popular. On DraftKings, though, Dort, Giddey, Baisley, and Earl, all probably a couple $100 underpriced for this spot with no Shea. Unfortunately, that's going to have to be something we pay attention to. Just not all that hard, and luckily not on FanDuel. Boston at San Antonio. Now, this one could end up looking kind of interesting given the pace San Antonio's playing at. I've got the San Antonio Spurs as the 4th fastest team in basketball. That could open something up here for Boston, particularly if they've got any injury concerns. And they do. So no Robert Williams. Doubtful tag on Jay Rich. Q tag on Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown is really the most important piece of this. Because if Jaylen Brown doesn't play, I think we might end up seeing Jason Tatum be a real interesting option. Brown made his return on Monday. 24 in the back-to-back. All right, so Jaylen Brown's playing today. Of course he is. So that doesn't really matter any longer. We've got Jaylen Brown back. I got him in for 28 minutes. That seems pretty reasonable. A little bit of a ramp up. Tatum in for 36. Yes. Robert Williams minutes need to go. Which means that Al Horford is the center. And Grant Williams is the backup center. Which is fine. We saw Jabari get more of the run than Cantor. So maybe it's not as naturally just Grant Williams. Let's give Cantor a rotation and Jabari a rotation. We get 21 minutes there for Grant Williams, but I think I need to go... Actually, I probably need to go to at least 24. I think that just works. Oh, yeah, I got to take Josh Richardson's minutes out. I was like, I know I'm missing something here. I don't know what it is. All right, Aaron Nesmith in for 10. That leaves me 17 extra minutes. Looks like Langford's going to get up to like 21. Doesn't even matter. That's a 10-man rotation right there. And that is what they ran. So somebody's short somewhere. Schroeder for 30. I just don't know if he's going to play much more than that. I guess we can go to 32. We got 32 in for Marcus Smart. That's probably low. Let's go to 34 here for him. And then that leaves me 6 minutes left over. Yeah, I think Jaylen Brown looks fine at 28. So maybe Grant Williams up to 26. And then I'm just going to give 4 minutes to like Peyton Pritchard or something, who kind of wild that he doesn't play. On the San Antonio side, what do we know? Wow, 716. When did that happen? 144 viewers, 81 likes. I'm starting to get a little sad that we're not closer to 100. Let's look at San Antonio. I have no idea what's going on for San Antonio today. All right, questionable tag on McDermott and Vassell. So just assuming everybody is in, I guess. McDermott didn't play again on Wednesday, so let's at least read his blurb. McDermott, right knee inflammation, missed 2. Let's just say that he plays. At which point, 32 minutes for Jakob Poeltl, I think I'm okay with. But let's make it 31 just in case. We saw... Who the hell played backup 5? Poeltl, Eubanks, Thad is 43 minutes. So they went to Keldon Johnson at the 5, I guess. Oh, Jock Landale's back too. Great. Great. All right, let's just do 8 and 8. Split those guys. Do 9 and 8. DeJounte Murray, 35 minutes, yes. Keldon Johnson, 31 minutes, yes. Derek White, 30, 29. Yeah, we'll give him 30. So, yes. It's going to be a lot of Jakob Poeltl and probably a lot of Keldon Johnson. Let's look at this one. So, Boston, nothing really here. Nobody with a double-digit boom score on either FanDuel or DraftKings, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking there. San Antonio, Jakob Poeltl, 5,800 on FanDuel, 5,700 on DraftKings. For sure, the best play on San Antonio. Just is. DeJounte Murray for 9,400 on DraftKings. Keldon Johnson for 5,500 on DraftKings. Fine. But Poeltl's the star here. We're moving through this a little bit better than I thought we would. And by we, I mean me. Milwaukee at Denver. Milwaukee, 4.5-point favorites in Denver. Denver now down another guy from their rotation. PJ Dozier out with the torn ACL. I don't know much about what's going on for Milwaukee. I can't picture anything off the top of my head. Still no Lopez, still no DiVincenzo, still no Semi, so same as usual. Might as well just take a peek at Denver right now, see if there's anything else. So it's Q tag on Jokic, who hasn't been playing, but I assume he is. Doubtful tag on Bones Highland still, and then no Porter, no Jamal Murray, no PJ Dozier for the rest of the season. All right, so for Milwaukee, this is just going to be the same as normal because everybody else is just in. So Giannis in for 34, Bobby Portis in for 30, Middleton in for 33. I don't have any changes I want to make here. You want to think that like Jordan Nwora plays or doesn't play and Thanasis does, that's fine. Grayson Allen in for 30 minutes. That's one where I could probably knock him down to 29. Pat Connaughton in for 29 as well. That's another one that I can actually probably bring down 1. And then I'm just going to give those 2 minutes to Thanasis. I don't think it matters at all. Drew for 33. Yeah, that's fine for me. Let's go to Denver. Would I play Jokic and Giannis in the same lineup? I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if it showed up. I doubt I'd get it. There's just too much value in like the 7s and 8s to end up getting a double pay up. Easily, at least. So let's take out PJ Dozier. RIP Dozier. We already don't have Bones Highland in. Clearly, we're assuming that Nikola Jokic plays. He's been out for 3 straight. I thought he was going to play on Tuesday, so I clearly assume that he's going to play today. So let's take Zeke Naji out, and we'll take Jeff Green and JaMychal Green out there. Let's get Jokic in for standard issue Jokic minutes, 34. We get JaMychal Green backing that up. We go 28 minutes to Jeff Green. How does Zeke Naji see the floor? He doesn't, right? He just doesn't. Facundo Campazzo, I think, is just going to start seeing a little bit more time. Although they can't really play him and Monty Morris together all that much. Austin Rivers is going to have to see that time. I've got 14 minutes left over. I don't know who the hell else they're going to go to, but I don't know why they would go to Zeke Naji. Like, that's not where they need it. I mean, like, it seems like it's going to be Zeke Naji, and he's a guy that I want to play. I just don't know. I don't know how natural this feels. But we have no choice. So that's Denver. And just in case, I don't remember what I have in here for rates, but I do need to change all of them. So let's just go to Denver, and we'll take Porter out, which means we're locking in Nikola Jokic for, because I don't think I need to take Dozier out. He's a low usage guy anyway. Nikola Jokic in 234 minutes this season with no Michael Porter Jr., 35% usage rate. And a 17% rebounding rate. So let's do 15 because I can't go too high there. Aaron Gordon is rebounding significantly less than he normally is. His usage rate, though, can get locked in here at his normal 19.3. Monty Morris is the key piece here, 18.5% usage rate. No real other changes. Will Barton, 22% usage rate. I'm going to stick at 21 since he'll be playing a lot with Nikola Jokic. And then we have to put in 2 more. Facundo Campazzo, 14.5. And Austin Rivers, 13.5. All right, so that's Denver. Not a great spot. On the Milwaukee side, you know, Giannis is always playable. He's 11-7 on FanDuel. Drew Holiday, 6,800 on DraftKings. That's probably a bit too cheap for him. If he plays 33 minutes, I have his ceiling at 47 fantasy points. That would work. On the Denver side, love Jokic, 11-3 on FanDuel, 11-5 on DraftKings. I like him more than I like Giannis. He's going to be the preferred pay-up option because he's got a 35% usage rate and basically averages a triple-double. So there's that. Sorry, knee is itchy. Aaron Gordon, 5,800 and 5,800 on FanDuel, yes. 6,600 on DraftKings, less, yes. 3 games to go. We've crossed our 100 like barrier. 7:23. I'll give you guys. Everybody's moving a little slower, so I'll give you guys a little slack on a day like today. Speaking of teams that need a little bit of slack, the New Orleans Pelicans are 11.5-point underdogs in Utah. The Pels are without Zion, obviously. On the Utah side, Q-tag on Royce O'Neal. This one's actually going to be one of the easier rotations to project. Kickstart, good morning. Good morning to everybody, honestly. I hope everybody really did have a nice Thanksgiving. All right, Pelicans. Pelicans. Ingram, 36. Yes. Herb Jones played 30 the past 2 games. Something to pay attention to. Everybody was back last time, so they really did remove Jackson Hayes from the rotation. That's fun to see. Devontae Graham played 21 minutes in his first game back after missing 3. I'm going to assume that he's playing a little bit more. Joe Val in for 33 minutes. Hasn't happened for the past 3 games, but it's Joe Val. Josh Hart into the 30s. I'm okay with this. Akil Alexander-Walker is just playing a little bit less. I'm going to take 2 of those minutes. Trey Murphy's not really a part of the rotation. So I've got 6 minutes left over. How many of them do I got to give to Herb Jones? At least 4. And then Garrett Temple in for 18 is fine. Satoransky in for 18 is fine. Kira Lewis. Maybe I cut all of those guys and it's Kira Lewis. Let's do 14 and 14 and 8. I don't know what Joe Val's price is on FanDuel, but it's apparently about to look really good. I'm going to take him down 1 minute and go 32 and 16, but it's still fine. On the Utah side, we're not changing anything. We know what we're doing here. Pelicans. Big dogs, but Joe Val is 7,200 on FanDuel, 8,900 on DraftKings. I think he's going to end up looking like the most popular center play. Brandon Ingram, 7,700 on FanDuel is pretty good too. Dave Jones, congratulations on cashing on DraftKings and FanDuel yesterday. I did not. Where I did cash, Yahoo. That was nice. Someone solo banked that $1 contest too. TT has a question. Is projected pace a big factor for your projections on players? I just started using pace in my model. Yes, it is the cornerstone of everything that I'm doing. I need to know how many possessions are going to happen in a game. That is the first step calculation for me. So pace starts it all. Joe Val on FanDuel looks so good. I like Donovan Mitchell across both sites, 8,100, 8,400. I can just tell now that when we run these optimals, it's going to be, there's either going to be enough value that you can get up to like the tippy top once, or it's just going to be this sea of like 7, 8, low 9 guys. Probably like 7 and 8 guys, and super balanced. Which, the more that it becomes obvious that you should be playing balanced, the more you should be playing stars and scrubs. When everybody zigs, you should zag. Gobert, for some reason, is 9K on FanDuel. It's not a bad price tag for him in a vacuum, but it's bad for this slate. 8,200 on DraftKings looks so much better. All right, 2 games to go. Really excited to run these crunches. Portland, 7-point underdogs in Golden State. I think everybody's healthy, except for Anthony Simons being questionable, but I clearly can't do anything about that right now. Yeah, Gambit, I think you're more right than wrong there. Although, that one's kind of a bad example because Joe Val's really good anyway. But there are examples in this area for other types of pay-up options. I think Joe Val is sort of a little bit different there because I think he is properly good chalk. Do I change my exposures on Cruncher or do I keep it at 100%? It doesn't matter. Let's start there. I could keep them at 100 and add randomness, or I can set individual caps on each player and get the same answer. So it's sort of whatever works for you. Haywood Vincent, good morning. My Thanksgiving was great. Probably had a few too many cocktails earlier in the day. Ate too much food while I was cooking, and it put me to bed pretty early, which was kind of a bummer, and I was probably kind of a bummer. But I just had no energy left in the tank. I was happy with everything that got cooked. I would rate my turkey as average. I wanted a little bit more. Tasted a little bit better with some gravy on it. Gravy, 8 out of 10. Sage and sausage stuffing, 8 out of 10. And then mashed potatoes with roasted garlic. I'll say 8 out of 10 as well. I think I nailed those 3 things. Oh, Mark, I can't wait. I can't wait to get Clay back in. All right, Portland's rotation just is going to stay here. I don't have any changes to make. Golden State's probably going to be pretty similar too. It is a fun slate tonight, Ronald. Full disclosure, guys, I'm not playing tonight. I wish that I could. I still got a family and everything in town. I can't dedicate 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Well, 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock tonight to play DFS basketball. So Monday is looking like the day that I'll be back on the actual grind. I wish that I were playing today, but that's just, I don't think it's going to be feasible. The Golden State Warriors. I guess I do got to look at this to see if Iguodala is back. And he is not. So this is just going to be the rotation that we've had normally, which is also kind of tricky. So what matters most is Steph, Wiggins, Draymond, Poole. See, Gambit, so much of it depends on the rest of the lineup. Ship happens. I use a player's standard deviation to calculate randomness. And I use pro randomness in Fantasy Cruncher. Yeah, I don't think I really need to change anything here. It's not like I have any concept of who's going to be in this stupid rotation. I guess Moses Moody can go away for the most part, and I can give Kevon Looney a couple extra minutes. But I don't think we're going to be liking Golden State all that much here. On Portland, Dame and CJ, that's about it. Norm Powell on DraftKings. Not much here for Portland. Obviously a bad matchup against Golden State's D. Golden State, yeah, like obviously Steph Curry can go crazy tonight and just have a monster performance. But I just can't see a scenario where, like, especially on DraftKings, I can't see a scenario where you want to play Steph for 11-4. Like, one, he's never going to look like a better play than Nikola Jokic or Giannis Antetokounmpo at the same price. And there's 20 dudes in the 9Ks that offer like 90% of his ceiling. It's rough. Alan Alexander, no worries that you're late, but you got to know this. I'm not taking no days off here unless I'm on vacation. But no, we're here, man. We've been here the whole way. Yeah, for Golden State, I don't really like anything here. Draymond 6,700 on DraftKings is the best option. Let's close this out. Final game, and I assume we're going to have at least a little bit of stuff here. Sacramento at the Lakers. The Kings are 7.5-point dogs in LA. Q-tag on Barnes, Q-tag on Holmes. I know Barnes left that last game early. Obviously, I don't follow the Sacramento Kings all that much, so let's just take a peek at this. Left early Wednesday, didn't return. There's no way for us to know this right now. Rashawn Holmes, eye contusion. Yeah, we just have to assume that these guys are just playing. So for Sacramento, Holmes didn't play. I assume he does. Chimezie Metu goes from starting 5 straight games and playing in 8 straight games to just out of the rotation in its entirety. That is hysterical and sad too, I guess. 35 minutes for Fox. Yeah, that's fine. I guess we're not really changing anything here. Like, if Holmes plays, he's just going to be the starting center and everything else is going to be the same. Same for Harrison Barnes. Like, if he's in, he's playing 36 minutes. That's Harrison Barnes. So I think we might see Davion Mitchell play a little bit more moving forward, but I don't know. I think 24 minutes just has to work right now. So I guess I'm not really changing anything. I mean, Fox is going to pop quite a bit here. I mean, maybe I should give him 34 minutes. We'll do something like that, but I think we're going to like that quite a bit. And he's going to look great with Russ on the opposite side trying to slow him down. On the Lakers side, this one's probably the hardest one to project because they suck. All right, Lakers. Q-tag on Braun. Just assuming he's playing. No Ariza, no none. Austin Reeves, questionable. M. Castillo, do you prefer a pay up in every lineup or a balanced team? I don't think about it. I don't think about it at all. But I think that when everybody starts to say that it should be balanced, it should probably be stars and scrubs. Because what you're really talking about there is, how can I have a different lineup construction with a similar outlook and lower ownership? And I think paying up is starting to look like that way to do it. Especially when this pricing starts becoming so efficient, or so inefficient, at least on FanDuel. You can hope that other people are making mistakes and get to higher end players more efficiently. That's the way that I look at it, at least. Talk to Adam about it later today. All right, DeAndre Jordan has played 20 plus minutes in the past 2 games. I guess I got to give him more. Dwight Howard's playing a little bit less. They went to a 2, 4, 6, 8, 9-man rotation. So who the hell didn't play? Not Bazemore, not Rondo. Oh, AD just didn't play. Okay, that makes sense. And then LeBron didn't play there. So they really are going to that 9-man rotation. But I don't think that... I think it's 10 when everybody's healthy. I don't see anybody else that's going to come out of this rotation now. I mean, it should be one of the centers, but... Gambit, I'm going to try to help myself do that first, but you can have second. Like, if Reeves is back, it's fine. I think it only really matters if Anthony Davis is projected in, if LeBron James is projected in, if Russell Westbrook is projected in, and if Talen Horton-Tucker is projected in. And all those guys are projected in right now. So I'm not changing any part of this rotation because I don't care about the bottom half of it. It doesn't matter who gets the rotation minutes. Appreciate you guys. I don't need any of that stuff. We'll think of something that we can do. I'd rather you guys like donate it to a charity in my name or something. maybe that could be something. Maybe I could set up some sort of link, some kidney foundation or mantle cell lymphoma or something. Oh, Daniel, joined the process last week and it's helped me be a better DFS player. That's the goal here. Having people understand that it's not about plays, it's about individual lineup construction. And it's so hard to just look at a group of guys and say like, oh, like I like Giannis more or I like Jokic more. It's like, well, you know, it's shades of gray. They're 60-40 on either side. So I'm happy that this is helping because I think it's that whole, teach a man to fish axiom. All right, Sacramento. Yeah, Fox on FanDuel. Fox on both sites. Barnes on DraftKings. Halliburton on both sites. Holmes on both sites. Lots to like for Sacramento. On the Lakers side, I'm just going to keep saying it because I think that I have to. I really like AD. Like, as much as it seems like things haven't been going well in Los Angeles, Anthony Davis has scored 1.4 fantasy points per minute this season. I want to play that dude. Now he's 11K. He doesn't look better than Giannis, and he doesn't look better than Anthony Davis. Sorry, he is Anthony Davis. He doesn't look better than Giannis. He doesn't look better than Nikola Jokic, but he's not pulling ownership. Like if Anthony Davis is 5% owned and he's still averaging 1.4 fantasy points per minute, if he plays 36 minutes, I have his ceiling at 71 fantasy points. You need that. Like, there's nothing wrong about thinking, like, this is the guy for me. But you just have to remember what that does to your lineup when you lock that guy in. If he's chalky, what you need to change elsewhere. But it's really just a big sort of, like, if you're giving up points from the optimal, you just have to figure out how much ownership you want to work your way back for. Alan, that is correct. I thought that Russell Westbrook trade was terrible for the Lakers. I would not have done it. I immediately went on Twitter and roasted it. So I have those receipts. That is not the type of team that you want Russell Westbrook to be on. I would have maintained the status quo and kept like Kuzma and KCP and whatever. But I would have taken that Buddy Hield deal like that. Russell Westbrook would be perfect for a team that needs to raise their floor. So before we run this crunch, I just want to look at it and think about like, where would I have like actually wanted Russ to go? Like Cleveland, I think would have been an interesting place for Russ to go as someone to like really set a tone and drive an offense. I wouldn't have loved him on the Knicks because they have too many guys, and I think I like what the Knicks did, but like that was the spot where he's an upgrade over someone like Elfrid Payton from last year. It ended up working out from a Kemba perspective. There's not a lot of spots where I think Russ just naturally works. Like clearly he could go to Detroit and really raise the floor of that team. Like the problem is he just can't shoot, and like the other teams that suck. So I guess I don't have anything else to add here on Russ. I don't think he'd be a very good option for most teams. All right, let's run crunches. Haven't run one in a day and a half, so starting to get the shakes a little bit. Need to get my fantasy cruncher on. No, he can't do sack. You already have Fox. You would never want to play Russell Westbrook over De'Aaron Fox. And I don't know. That's not even a guy that I'm not even a guy that's like a big Fox fan. All right, FanDuel optimal lineups. Here we go. First crunch. What do we got? This has got to be, yeah, that is exactly what I was expecting too. Ultra balanced. LaMelo Ball, Donovan Mitchell, Malcolm Brogdon, Josh Giddey, Anthony Edwards, Malik Beasley, Aaron Gordon, Wendell Carter Jr., Jakob Poeltl. I love that lineup construction. You can go down a tenth of a point, swap out Anthony Edwards for Keldon Johnson, and then Aaron Gordon for Jaren Jackson. So, like, I don't think that Russ made Washington worse. I think that Russell Westbrook just simply removes a ceiling from a team because of his lack of shooting, because of his lack of defense. But if you don't have somebody that can create efficient offense, him running, like, transition, any sort of transition that you can get, so like off of misses or like quick push, like that's going to be the most efficient offense you're going to find. He's really good at that. Where Russ breaks down is in the half court because he has no ability to be a floor spacer, and he just sort of clogs up. Like you really need the other four guys to be shooters at that point. But he can raise a transition offense so much on a bad team that he could really raise your floor. But that grinds to a halt when you have someone like LeBron. Like, there's no situation where you ever want the ball in Russ's hands over LeBron's hands. Whatever discussion we want to have with LeBron, like, everybody's going to agree with that. You also have AD, who's an efficient offensive player as well. So Russ just doesn't fit. This isn't 2015 Russ any longer, where he was, ultra efficient as well. Still a bad three-point shooter, was still like an 85 to 90th percentile true shooting. That's a different guy than this guy is now. He's just bad now for what they need him to be. All right, power rankings. That's my Russ soliloquy for right now. How do the power rankings look on FanDuel? 190 viewers. Oh my God. It looks like we went up by like 25, 30 viewers over the past 5 minutes. Maybe. Oh, wait. I got to scroll over a little bit. Yeah. Big time jump up in viewership from 160 to 190 since like 7:35. Apparently, people were hearing me talk Russell Westbrook, wanted to come in and get my thoughts. Yeah, like Lonzo now would be an amazing, well, sort of amazing, not a great pick and roll guy, would be great on the Lakers. He's going to knock down open threes. He's a great catch and shoot guy now. He's fantastic defensively. I mean, they should still want Caruso. Letting Caruso go is a gigantic mistake. The Lakers made a lot of mistakes this offseason. Alrighty, so here's where we're at. Power rankings on FanDuel. Malik Beasley, Wendell Carter Jr., my man, Malcolm Brogdon, De'Aaron Fox, Keldon Johnson, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Jakob Poeltl, Darius Bazley. It's not fun, but all of that makes a ton of sense to me. I'm not surprised by it at all. Now, that'll do for FanDuel. Let's go ahead and pull up DraftKings. Well, yeah, I mean, I would imagine LeBron made most of those choices, as one should when you're the best player in the NBA, and the one with the most like gravitas. You kind of got to do that. I get it. There's bad decisions. Hold'em King, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. All right, DraftKings optimal by 1/10 of a point. So we'll look at the details between the two. Donovan Mitchell, Malik Beasley, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., Baisley, Dort, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Nikola Jokic. We can swap out Mitchell for Brogdon and Dort for Giddey and Jaren Jackson for Jakob Poeltl and get to 291.7. So down a tenth. You could also go down another tenth of, or the same tenth of a point. Jalen Suggs works his way in there. Do we have another one at 291.7? No, we don't. All right, power rankings on DraftKings, and then we're going to get out of here. We've got, no surprises here. Malik Beasley looking like he's going to be at the top. Brogdon is going to be close. Harrison Barnes climbing up the list higher than I was expecting, but 6,100 for a guy that can play 36 minutes if he's healthy against a not great Lakers team. I mean, let's be clear here. Harrison Barnes hasn't had a great run of it as of late, but remember what these prices are. Harrison Barnes was 7,500 on November 10th. He is 6,100 now. That means his boom score at 7,500, if we want to say 5x plus 10, he needed 47.5 points at 7,500 to hit a boom. At 6,100, he needs 40.5. So just by changing his salary, he can score 7. He needs 7 less fantasy points. That changes things because Harrison Barnes isn't a different player here to here, but you need 7 less. That's important. If he hits this 39 mark now, you're right at, like, if he hits 39, which is what he hit a couple games ago, at 6,100, Harrison Barnes is in the conversation for being in any optimal lineup. That's important. All right, DraftKings, power rankings, and then we're out of here. Malik Beasley, Darius Baisley, Malcolm Brogdon, D'Angelo Russell, Donovan Mitchell, Barnes, Bridges, Miles Bridges, that is, Anthony Edwards, Jeremiah Robinson Earl. That stops me at 15%, so that's sort of like the top 10. We made it. Post-Thanksgiving, we've been live for an hour and 15 minutes. I didn't throw up on myself, which is great. Everything's feeling good. Let's go back to full screen. We have just closed out the work week. We are done for the process. Mondays is going to feel a little bit better. I think we've got really good slates next week, too. I think it's like 9-5-9-5-9 or something like that. It's the same thing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the same on Tuesday and Thursday. Let me double check it. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 9 games Monday, 5 games Tuesday, 9 games Wednesday, 5 games Thursday, 9 games Friday. Love that entire week. I'm going to go balls to the wall. Maybe we'll do a giveaway next Friday again. I think that will be good. Start slowly but surely ramping up for the Christmas season. I don't think I have anything else here. So NBA Contenders videos will be out shortly. I've got the strategy show at either 9:45 or 10. I can't remember. But, strategy show with Adam where we'll break down each one of these games. I've got an NFL video to do, and then I am done for the day. As I mentioned before, not playing tonight. Still got a lot of holiday stuff to do, but I hope you guys had a great holiday so far. If you're working today, make it through the work week, or make it through the day and then get yourself to the weekend. Good luck tonight. Win some money. You know where we're going to be. We'll be right back here on Monday. And again, shout out to Prize Picks for being the presenting sponsor of this video. Don't forget to use that promo code Awesemo when you sign up. Get yourself up to $100 on that first deposit. If you haven't hit it yet, please hit that like button on your way out the door. Good luck. Happy holidays. We're out of here.